Hello, everyone, and welcome back or welcome to the Bite Podcast Season 2,
Season
Episode
two.
1. I am your host, Raven,
And I'm your host, Reed.
and it's been a while.
To say the least, it's been some time. The last you saw us was, I think, February, early February.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why I was thinking March, but I think that it was maybe like,
It may have been. I know it was part two to our Bree Tanner read along.
which we did not, but we can. We could always just bring back Brie Tanner if you guys
We,
want.
we have like 70 pages. Not even.
Yeah, we could always just bring it back and maybe we'll do like a little recap and finish off the book. I have not finished it, so
I
it,
finished it. Well, I've already read it before, but haven't finished the reread.
yeah, and we're already less than a minute in, and we have an appearance from Nessie. So hi,
Yes!
Nessie. Oh my goodness.
He's
Well,
like,
today
oh my
is
goodness, the camera.
I know. Today has been an adventure. We were supposed to record earlier today, and I woke up and sweating bullets because it was like 84 degrees in my house. And my AC had just not been working, and we were like, "Well, we'll just give it. We'll see like what's wrong with it." And then uh it was like 84 not cooling at all. So I we called um our landlords, and then thankfully they sent someone out today. We weren't sure if they were going to be able to send someone out today, so but they called me like 10 minutes later and they're like, are you available in 20 minutes? And I was like, yes, please get over here, because I was going to go record at my mom's, but thankfully everything's a-okay in that sense. But yeah,
Crisis averted.
so I think we should address the elephant in the room a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's been a couple of months since we've put out an episode. Maybe like a month or two ago, we did put out a post saying that we were gonna be back at the end of May or like in June.
Yeah. Well, we talked in May, and then I think I posted in June that we were gonna come back, you know, toward the end of the summer because you had your trip and you had your surgery, but then just life happened.
Yeah,
So it's been
I
a
mean, look,
month since the tentative date we had planned on originally.
yeah. So it said that we said that we were going to. It said that in May 2022 we were going to do something, and I think from that when we had first discussed that, I don't think we had really looked at like the schedules and stuff like that, because and I was already done with like all of my school stuff pretty much by the time that we had talked in April, because my competition had just happened. We got first place. It was great. And then all these like other things had already been happening, but then um but then it was just like the end of school, and then I went on vacation in June, which I'll talk about today a little bit, and then I got surgery in June also. So it's
Yeah.
kind of been like a whirlwind. It's been almost like it's been a little over a month since I've gotten surgery, and it
Yeah.
was like, okay, like I feel like it's time we got to start again, because it was just a long time. And I think like part of the and here we have another
Oh,
another
your little
little
eyes.
I know this is Toothless, guys. I don't know if she's ever made a podcast. Maybe she has made a podcast appearance unwillingly,
So cute. I
but
love
she
black
jumped in.
cats.
Ugh, she's adorable. I love her. Okay, sorry, Toothless. She's like, excuse me. But yeah, so I think part of it was just like I think we had known when this school year started, because last school year it was super easy. I was online. I was really everyone was home, like we weren't really doing things.
Yeah.
Um the group chat was always talking all the time, like no one was really working. And so it was just like easier to stay in contact and easier to record and easier to edit, because literally no one was doing anything like
Yeah.
at
I had
all.
graduated. I wasn't in school anymore.
Yeah, so for the first, chunk of that, it was like we were pretty good. And then I think what happened was school started, and I think we both, and it was my first year back in school, back to work since COVID, like a full time, because my first year was cut in half. My first year of teaching was cut kind of short because we went into lockdown in March of 2020. And
Yeah.
then from March of 2020 till probably about um I want to say like the last 6 weeks of the school year of 2021, 2022, they made us go in person. Or
Yeah.
it was 2020, 2021 or something. I don't know the school year exactly, but it was like almost a whole year since we had been virtual all school year long. We had been virtual, and then the last 6 weeks they were like, go, and we were like, okay, that was
Yeah.
okay, like that was whatever. And that was probably like May of 2021. And then this past school year was our first year back um in person fully 100%, and it was crazy, you know.
Yeah.
um and so I think I knew at least that it was going to be like a learning curve, because I hadn't done the podcast where I had a normal year, because in a normal year I'm doing like four plus shows a year, or like competitions and everything, and I'm busy on Saturdays. And I think what we had, like the schedule that we had was like we would record every other week, and then I would edit after we record. And but then sometimes like it just didn't work like that. Like I think I just needed to be more flexible with my time, because it's like, oh, I have practices on weekends also, you know? So it was just like craziness. And
Yeah.
I think that was like a big reason for me. I think I also have like social depression sometimes, where like I'm so into my work and like doing my work that I isolate myself from like group chats or people or things that I need to do. And so sometimes even like when I we would like be like, okay, we're gonna record, you know, this week for the last episode, and literally in my head I'd be like, I have to set up, and it'd be such a grueling task, when like literally I set up today and I was like, oh, this is this is fine. Like literally I just turn my computer on and I have a ring light, and like I get myself some water. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay. And so I think that that was a good part of it. And then Ree and I weren't in contact for a long time, because of something that that is water under the bridge now, and that is
Yeah.
over. And
Been settled.
it's been settled. And so then it was like, okay, well then like we need to start the podcast up again,
Yeah.
because like what are we doing, you know? And I think we just needed to kind of like look into our format and maybe like come up with new ideas, or kind of like figure it out. So we have a new format. So just so you guys are aware of it, Brie, I don't know if you want to kind of tell them.
Okay. So if y'all been with us since the beginning, you know, we're coming up on 2 years on August 5th in 5 days.
Mm?
Because we released our first episode on the anniversary of like Midnight Sun and all of
Well,
that.
actually, when this is released, it'll be the day before our 2 year podcast
Oh wait,
anniversary.
or was it October? No, I'm getting ahead of myself. It was October 5th. It was
October 5th.
October 5th.
Okay.
But we did our Midnight Sun like series, I
Yeah,
think, around.
it's been a year since our like midnight, almost a year since our Midnight Sun, I think, or since Midnight Sun has came out. This is future editing Raven. I mistakenly said a year since Midnight Sun came out, and I don't know if we ever corrected ourselves. So just for clarification, it has been 2 years since Midnight Sun came out. Oops, sorry. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Yeah, but we're almost there. We're 2 months shy of our 2 year podcast anniversary. So if
Yeah.
you've been with us since the beginning, since 2020, then you would get 2 episodes a month. We'd meet every other weekend, and then Raven, the wizard that she is with editing, would get the podcast out on time on all of our platforms. every other
Which
week.
we're on 5 platforms if you did not know.
5 platforms. We're
We'll tell
working on
you.
Apple
Yeah.
Podcasts, but Apple
Yes.
Podcasts is tricky. So if you're wanting us on Apple Podcasts, we'll get there eventually.
Yes, but the main ones, Spotify, Google Podcasts. There's a couple others. We'll put them in the
Anchor,
yeah,
YouTube,
Anchor.
all that.
We'll put them in the description below or something.
Yeah. So instead of that, I mean, you guys are still going to get 2 episodes,
Yeah.
at least a month, maybe even 3, depending on how long editing
Yeah,
and like
that could
our
definitely
podcast go. But Raven and I are going to be meeting up once a week, and we're just going to have, well, not
once a
once a
month.
week, once a month, and we're going to have just a long session where we're going to split them up. We're going to do the categories and the ideas we have for you, and then it'll be, I believe, the first and third Thursday of every month
Yeah.
is when you guys can expect an episode.
Yeah, so I think it's just better this way for us because I think another thing, if you look back at some of our older episodes, they're like pushing 2 hours, some are maybe even over. And it's just because something that happens when we get on camera is that like sometimes it's like not the first time that we've talked since the last time we saw each other, but it was like the first time that we've like talked face to face, I guess, kind of. Or like sometimes it's just us like texting back ideas for podcasts or like things like that for the podcast or sending videos to each other. And so this is like the first time that we're able to like, get. So I think that was a lot of that.
Yeah, that last like 6 months until leading up to like the little hiatus we had was just us, like we would just text every now and then and be like, yo, we'll see you Saturday, see you Sunday, and then we'd talk for like long
Yeah.
periods of time.
And then there was also, I mean, there's chunks of podcasts that I have cut out because it's like me spilling tea or something about the fandom, something in the fandom that's going on. Which
What
there's
was that? Fandom talk would usually take up the first 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Was
it's like,
head
oh,
fandom
did you see
stuff.
that? It's like, oh, did you see that so and so said this or so and so did, things like that or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of ideas for the next couple of months, at least with this month of August. We're like the last day of July that we're recording this, but for August coming up, September and October, I think we have all of our ideas already laid out for
Yep.
what the episodes are going to be. So you can expect this month for us to be talking about. This episode is like a little catch up, but we're going to be talking about the anniversary of Midnight Sun and its impact in the Twilight community and the 7,000th Twilight Renaissance that is happening right now, which will be the second episode here in 2 weeks that you're watching this. So you can expect that. So we're planning for our episodes monthly to kind of coincide with each other. So they're not like 2 different topics. It's like kind of hand in hand. It's that's the plan. And in September, oh, I wrote it down. I know I did.
I Where's my
September
little plan?
we're doing a little trendy thingy. I don't know if you guys have seen on TikTok. It's like the he's a 10, she's a 10. So we're planning on doing that for September, 2 different episodes. Just because September is kind of we want those to. I specifically want those to be a little lighthearted because school has just started. FTF is then, so they're just kind of like chiller videos. October will be
Yeah.
our FTF recaps, just talking about the FTF experience. And then what's really cool is that I have the VIT and then Ree does not. So we'll be able to kind of split those up where I can tell you about my VIT experience and then she can tell you about her non-VIT experience. Because some people think that you have to go to FTF and like the only way that you can really experience it is with the VIT, which is I think the VIT has a lot of great qualities to it. I mean, you get to get so many things for free, but also there are things to do that are free that if you're kind of balling on a budget or,
Yep.
you can kind of go do those experiences. So that's also something that you can expect for October. After October, we are considering, I know our TikTok has popped off a little bit lately. And people always want Ree to talk about, because I don't post a lot on our TikTok account, Ree posts a lot, on our TikTok account, but they always want her to talk about the other vampires that we don't really get to see in the movies. Um, oh my,
You know, the ones who get
excuse me.
maybe like a little line or two in every now and then, or in a scene, but we don't know much about them. Those
Yeah,
type of characters we know and love, but we wish we got more of.
yeah, exactly. And then and I think also like we have some ideas planned for our YouTube account. If you're watching this on YouTube, what's up? You can see us. Um, but we have some videos planned for like our vlogs for FTF, maybe even a video of us, two different videos of us showing off our collections because we have collections.
We've accumulated a lot. I never had Twilight stuff growing up because I was, elementary going into middle school when it was came out popular, and my parents didn't want to get me, merch because they're like, she'll just grow out of it. She's not gonna get into this so much. Well, little did they know that I was gonna have a Renaissance experience in my teens and young adults.
Yeah.
So it was really not until the pandemic 2020 at freaking 21 years old that I started accumulating Twilight collection. And a lot of it is that the gifts from like you, Crystal, Cat, a lot of it are gifts. Some of the stuff I've gotten myself that I've, gotten from thrift stores because you can
Yeah.
always find stuff from the thrift store. And then of
Well,
course FTF. Like I got that poster from FTF last year.
yeah, FTF also have they do a bazaar and you're able to go and just buy everyone selling stuff from Twilight collections or stuff that are non-Twilight related. I think last year someone was selling like soaps and I was like, "Hey."
And
But
then
yeah.
people on from the reservation, they sell native jewelry and dream
Mhm.
catchers.
Yeah, so that's really cool. And I was gonna say the same. I had hardly any. I didn't have any Twilight stuff, maybe except for one book. When I was younger, I had a couple of things that maybe I had like saved from the movie theaters. But then when we moved, and then I lost everything. So really, I feel like I have more things than I had even when I had then. But
Yeah.
speaking of adding things to collections, I have added a couple of things to my collection since we recorded. I have the illustrated guide with the new
Yes,
cover, with the new revamped covers, but this one is not that bad.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that one. There are some covers that I hate, but that one at least looks good.
I was thinking because to go on a little rant here, I think the collection, the new collection would have been like 10 times better if it was just like the picture of the art, like enlarged art, but no words. I think
That would,
that's kind of a vibe, you know?
yeah.
I've also added this is my I love this. It's like a little prized possession for me. But a little backstory. So he's kind of my boss. He works at the high school. He's like the director at the high school. He's the head director at the high school, and so he's kind of like my boss. But he's also a coworker. But gets collectibles, like any kind of collectibles, and he goes to like events and sells them. And he saw these and he was like, oh, I have to like get these for Raven. And if she was like, he was like, if she doesn't want them, like I'll just sell them somewhere else. But I was like, of course I want them, and I bought it from him. But
Oh my god. For those of you listening on the Spotify, it is the
yeah,
Edward Barbie doll.
it's the Edward Barbie doll, the from the Barbie collector. This box is perfect. Like this is perfect condition. He also just discovering he has like a little bit of glitter on his skin.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
the skin of a killer.
Yeah, it's perfect. And then the Bella Barbie doll.
The Bella, oh my god, is that her Twilight outfit? That
It's,
is.
it is. But this one's a little not as perfect. The back is a little messed up, but nonetheless, I'm not taking them out of their boxes anytime soon. They do come with stands so that you can like put them on stands if you want to display them. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness gracious. If you're watching on YouTube, you just see you probably, or if you're listening, you might hear my cats. They're like, I don't know. They never want attention until right now. They're like, give me attention. Something else I've added to my collection is I bought this from Mama Cat. If for those of you that don't know, Cat is our Twilight mom. I was like, I totally forgot that I had it because I have it in a secret place, but and it's too far away for me to go get it. But I did get I did buy the full um board games from her.
You got the board game?
I have all three of the board games.
Oh my goodness.
It's a set and it's beautiful and I love it so much. But I haven't played them, haven't even opened it. So I'm waiting for the right time to bust them out. Cause they're still in their wrapping. It had never been opened. So
yeah.
That's also something I added to my collection.
To play. Mm-hmm. So if you guys follow me on TikTok, then you guys have probably seen my little hauls. Because sometimes when I go like Second and Charles, I usually can find some good stuff with Twilight and everything. So like last summer, I found the volume 2, and I had been searching for volume 1, and I finally found it recently. So now this is hard.
I have one of them. I don't know which one I have, but I know I have one.
Yeah. This one, people say that volume 2 is harder to find and that it's easier to get your hands on volume 1. And then the New Moon one, like forget about it. It's so hard to find that.
So we also so Carlos ended up getting it, but this is my game set collection.
Holy yo, that's so sick.
Yeah, it has Twilight, New Moon, and Eclipse. I'm not gonna open it.
I wouldn't. That looks so cool.
Carlos wants to give me a birthday present on camera.
Oh. Okay.
I'm suspicious. My birthday is not till the end of the month. It's just so you guys know, it's July 31st when we're recording this. My birthday's August 20th.
I thought it was the 20th or 21st. Let me write that down.
Yeah, it's the 20th. Wow, what a surprise we have here.
We're going to see a live unboxing, live reaction.
I guess so. Wow. But yeah, so lots of things to our collections.
I found these.
Nice. I think I just have the Twilight one.
Yeah. I have Eclipse already because Crystal gifted me that 2 Christmases ago, and then I found these.
So Carlos handed me. Can you hold the microphone close? So I don't want it to. Carlos handed me a laptop bag that I got from school. So I guess he's hiding it in there. Wow. A signed Rosalie picture. Wow.
Stickies.
And it has a certificate of authenticity. That's cool.
That's a good picture too.
It is.
I love that picture of Rose.
It's a really good picture of Rosalie. Nice. Thank you.
If y'all are on the Spotify, head on over to the YouTube.
Yeah. But it's a signed picture of Rosalie. So
Mr. Wood for the win.
I know. I have a couple of signed things, so I need to get framed. I've not framed any of the signed things I have or anything. Thank you. Okay. Let's see.
I also got these from Kat.
Oh yes, because for those of you that Mama Cat, our Twilight mom, she texted this group chat that we have with her, and she was like, "I'm selling a whole bunch of my Twilight things," or she was gonna like auction them or sell them off somewhere, and she was like,
dibs.
Yeah, she was like, if you guys want any, I'm gonna give you guys first choice, first pick. So we ended up. So some of us got some things from her.
Yeah, I got the Bella Breaking Dawn battle outfit. And then I got the Barnes & Noble booksellers exclusive of Edward with the golden eyes.
Nice. I think I have the Edward golden eyes. I'm pretty sure.
She also had Edward in the regular, the black eyes, I think
Mm.
too. But I want Funko because now I have my Jane that Mare had gifted to me for my birthday 2 years
Hmm.
ago. I want them to make more Funkos, but they stopped making Twilight Funkos.
Well, we can talk about a research. Well, we are going to be talking about this little resurgence that we're seeing
Yeah.
um, next episode, so you can kind of stay tuned for that. We're gonna try not to talk about some of the current uh
Events.
yeah events in the fandom just because of I need the Midnight Sun book. Just because of the second episode is going to cover a lot of that. But what we are talking about specifically today, while Ree puts her stuff away, is Midnight Sun. Yes.
Which I have
Oh,
yet to reread. I was supposed to reread it for my July TBR, and I never did.
yeah. I haven't I
I'll do
maybe
that
I've
later.
done. I think maybe I've done one reread. Um, but how beautiful! I just found this, and I think maybe I had gotten this FTF last year, or I don't even know where I got this. Someone might have sent it to me, but it's a Midnight Sun quote. It says, "For just a second, I saw Persephone, pomegranate in hand, dooming herself to the underworld." And this is from at Breeze Books, who made
Ooh.
this. It's a
Shout
little
out to them.
booklet. I know, super cute. And also, um, I just love the cover of this one. Like Midnight Sun, I feel like hands down one of my top fave covers.
It took a while for me. I wasn't the biggest fan of the pomegranate, but it's grown on me
I
because of
love
the
it because
symbolism.
it looks like a heart. It looks like a bleeding heart.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then the symbolism of like, Persephone and whatnot. I don't know if you heard that there might end up being a tattoo artist at FTF.
I did. I comment on the thing saying I'm interested.
Well, I think that I'm end up might wanting to get a small little pomegranate tattoo.
Ooh. I was thinking like what would I get? Because I was thinking about the Forever, but I kind of wanted to get like Let's Get Lost because that's like my
Mm,
favorite song from, the entire series, and like it can mean several things.
yeah,
So,
I like that. That's
yeah.
cute.
But the pomegranate seeds, that would be cute.
Yeah, I like the pomegranate. I was like, oh, how cute would that be? Like a small little pomegranate. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. A lot can change between now and FTF, which is only like a little over a month away. So,
I'm
Midnight
so excited.
Sun. This episode is actually coming out on the 1 year anniversary of Midnight Sun.
Yep.
And this book, the announcement of this book caused Stephanie Meyer's website to crash at like super early in the morning
Oh my
because
God.
people thought that it was gonna be like a host or something, right?
Like everybody's first guess was like Midnight Sun, but then everybody's like, there's no way she's gonna give us Midnight Sun. It's been too long, it's over. So then it was all like, oh, is it gonna be the Renesmee Jacobs story? Oh, is it gonna be the Leah story? But then
Mm,
they were all like, no, it's going to be the second book of the host because Stephanie said like 10 years ago the host was supposed to be a trilogy. So I'm
yeah,
sorry to the host fans, but
and I
we
think
won this round.
I think yeah, I know. I think a lot of it had to do. Some people thought it was a host mainly because the background of the waiting was like stars and stuff like that, and so people
Yeah.
were like the host. But then it's Midnight Sun,
Yeah.
and I love this book so much. Um, it gave this book gave us so much more. Oops, my microphone went a little crazy there. Midnight Sun gave us like so much more Twilight content than we could have ever asked for, I think.
I gotta just give a shout out to Midnight Sun because that's the reason why my TikTok popped off. Because I was like, breaking news: Stephanie Meyer's website is having a countdown.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I had saw your video
I have both
actually of
there.
that. Yeah, and I mean I'm all of my video like my TikTok started popping off because I posted like the deleted scenes that I was like I have never seen these before. But but yeah, so Midnight Sun was also a pretty big like it was like a big thing for the fandom, and it was a kind of like a part of kickstarting this renaissance that there was already kind of like it was already happening at the
Yeah,
time. But the midnight when Midnight Sun came out, because before all of that there was like a little bit of a renaissance kicking off, and I think that actually Stephanie benefited from that 100%, because I feel like if
the
there
time.
wouldn't the timing was perfect for her. But not that if there wasn't a renaissance going on, I still think like there'd be hype around it. But I think
Yeah,
that like with the new social media like TikTok and like these Instagram influencers or Twilight Instagram influencers, like I I think it just became like this huge thing, and then we started seeing lots of Twilight things happening from them, disregarding anything that has happened in the past couple of months, because we're going to talk about all of that in the next episode. But um, we started seeing interviews or like just more people coming out of the woodworks, um, and or like they'd be in like interviews and they would be like, "Oh, is there opportunity for another Twilight movie?" And it's just
yeah,
like craziness.
yeah. I remember I had people who, friends from back home, who also friends from like ages ago, from when I was in middle school, who knew, I liked Twilight, and they were all like, "Yo, did you hear about this?" And also like, "Are they gonna make a movie?" And I was like, "Well, I don't think about a movie because this is literally like Twilight, but Edward's point of view. But who knows what the future could bring."
I definitely think that sometime in the future there's going to be a remake,
I think
right?
there's gonna be a remake, but I think it's gonna be like Percy Jackson, where it's a show instead of a movie.
That'd be cool. And I think that if they did that, like it'd be so much cooler for them to base like the first movie or the first series on Midnight Sun
You know how
instead of
much
Twilight.
you know how much I would sell my soul for in order to get the dining room scene like on screen,
Or the cafeteria scenes, like
or the car scene.
like come on. I feel like there's just so much more. And honest also, I think it would be more appealing to like the male demographic if there was like some of these other scenes that we never really heard
Yeah,
about, like or that we like them hunting or them like literally going on this like Fast and Furious chase down a
yeah.
highway.
I mean, it would be so cool because like if they because like Twilight, the first one was just strictly like we see it through Bella's eyes. But if they were to combine Midnight Sun and we see from Edwards, they could easily like when they're in school, you hear like the whispers of other people, and that's really their thoughts that he's hearing.
Hmm.
And
I think it'd be super cool if they did something where like the first episode was all about like Bella leaving and getting to Forks. And then second episode, like, so first episode, all of Bella's POV. Second episode, all of Edward's POV. But at the end of each episode, it's like, at the end of Bella's episode, it's her walking into class. At the end of Edward's second episode, it's when he's sitting down and Bella walks into class. And so the start of the third episode would be the first class interaction. And it's where their worlds just combine for forever.
they gotta add us to the screenwriting.
I know. That would
They
be
got
so cool.
What if we just combine, some Twihards and we pull up to a production company and like, hey, let's pitch this to
We
them.
do it. We do our own. Because imagine, like, because it's like, you see those things all the time where, like, you're getting the same story, but from two different people's, like, point of view, like in TV shows or movies.
Yeah, like Stranger Things, where it's the same story, but like we see two characters do this, four characters do that, and it just all
Yeah.
comes together.
Literally like that. And I think it'd be so cool. Like, because it literally, the second episode is just the same things, but, like, in the first episode, we get, like, the whole, like, who's that? And it's like, he's walking in right. But then in the second episode, we hear, like, Jessica's inner thoughts, and we hear like and it's like all, and it's like whatever they were talking about at the table or things like that, you know, because
Yeah,
we learned from Midnight Sun that there were things that happened up to the point that Edward first saw Bella, you know, like
yeah.
there's little things that happen in the book, and I just think that that'd be such an interesting way until the third episode when it's like boom, and now they're just like it's both of their stories.
Do you want to know how it's let me how best I could describe it. How this is still being talked about even up to like now. So back in May, I went to Universal Studios in Orlando and I was in line for Men in Black with my friend Grace, who's coming to FTF this year, my dad, and my brother. And we were in line. And then as we were about to turn into the like area to where it's the next section to get into the ride, I hear a girl, this girl behind me, and she's talking to this guy who she's in line with. I'm guessing they were like coworkers and they were with a group and they decided to go. But all of a sudden I hear her screech at him, "Oh my god, you like Twilight? Have you read Midnight Sun?" And I was just I literally I looked at Grace, I was like, oh, because I mean, I'm literally right here, Twilight tattoo on freaking deck, and they're just going off about Twilight, and then I'm like, oh, I kind of want to be like, yo, what y'all talking about? Like,
Yeah.
hey, but then I was just, so, girl, if you're ever listening to this, hey, I was in front of you at Men in Black, and I'm a Twilight fan too.
Yeah, it's literally it's a fun it's literally a phenomenon. But I mean same like I recently went to I don't want to talk too much about it because I think this is part of like the whole renaissance like I don't know, like the millionth renaissance that Twilight has had, but um like I went to this bar, was doing a Twilight night, and you know, I obviously went all decked out in like my
Yes,
forks get up and
as
all
you should.
that. Yeah. And but it was just so interesting to see like everyone, and it was just like what it like it's like obviously I wanted to be like I've been part of this community like for forever. So like it was just
Yeah.
crazy to see how many people were there, like how many people were wearing um like merch and things like that. So that was pretty interesting.
Just it's like thank you, Midnight Sun, for
I
giving
know.
giving us the renaissance we deserved, that we missed out on, and like couldn't thrive. Oh, I still remember crying when I opened up my package, which you guys can go to our TikTok and see because
Hmm.
there's videos of us when we finished the book and when we unboxed the book. Because
Yeah,
your husband got you this for your birthday
he
and didn't
did.
tell you.
Yeah, I was like, well, I was like, I didn't want to buy it because I get buyer's guilt whenever I get to buy things, and then I kept saying like, oh, like, but I have extra money, like I should order it, and he'd be like, no, don't order it, like, whatever, and I felt like terrible, and then it finally got in because I didn't get a pre-order, but I guess he got the pre-order, so it was like I cried when I opened it, and it was like amazing, and then I cried when I finished it for probably like 5 hours.
I cried too. I just was like, and then I went like, ah. It was just
Yeah.
like because of that freaking bottle cap.
That bottle, yeah, that bottle cap breaks my heart, and but I mean, just the whole ending of it, like it's just so. I just
It's like it's so funny what like when because I think we mentioned this when we did our Midnight Sun series, was just how different the two books were and how like Edward is so deep in his thoughts.
hmm
He is just it's like he just explodes with descriptions and like everything in his surroundings, whereas Bella is very, reclusive, like she is with everything. Because people are always all like, Twilight is so short and Bella doesn't say much and she doesn't describe. And it's like, well, that's not really what she does because she doesn't view herself as a focal point.
yeah.
Whereas
I think
Edward,
I think that's why it'd be so, if they were to do a series, it'd be so interesting to like those two episodes, and then like for the first after like from episode 3 on, maybe like it's like their world a little bit, but then I feel like there would need to be times where like we're just in Bella's POV, and then times where we're just in Edward's, because like obviously like Bella's description of the freaking like of her getting like mauled by James is like so short compared to Edward's description of that whole event, you know?
And then the baseball scene,
Yeah.
that was like, it was like a page and a half, 2 pages with Bella, but Edward gave us like 5 pages of that beautifulness.
Yeah, and I think what we also would need to see, I think just to make their love a little bit more realistic, because I think that like in Bella's terms, everything was so quick. And in
Yeah.
Edward's terms, it was not.
Slow, it was slow burn.
It's a slow burn.
This is a slow burn romance. Twilight is a fast paced romance.
Yeah. And I think that Edward's was probably a little bit more realistic. And I think we need to see the times where they're horny for each other.
Oh my god.
Bella
Like,
maybe showed us like 1 or 2 times. And then when she told us, and it was like, oh, like I went weak in my knees or whatever. And Edward like literally went into detail, like her heart rate slowed down. And like all this, she stopped breathing.
like I was so surprised because Stephanie Meyer did a little bit of that. Like she, it was more than Twilight in life and death. And then she went full on right here. I was like, okay, Stephanie, I see you coming out of your shell.
I would also love to see a life and death movie. Something maybe not even associated with the saga, but it's just, or maybe something that's like, it's life and death.
Need Edith. I need Edith, and I need Bo.
Yeah.
I need Edith and Bo. You can change the last names and like make it different, but it's like, give me Edith and Bo.
It's so cute. And I was like, it would be perfect. Part of me was thinking that Midnight Sun might have been the downfall of people being able to go see the Cullen House.
Yeah, it was that combined with the pop-up of Twilight TikTok, because it's like Midnight Sun is kind of what gave the wave for Twilight TikTok, and so people then started sharing, going to Forks, going to Portland,
Yeah, I
going
think
to the Cullen House.
because there was already a wave, because we were like on that first wave of Twilight TikTok, and then on I think like the second wave was definitely after the book came out, and people started, like how people were like, do it for the Vine, and they would do like stupid shit, right? Now
Yeah.
it was like, what people were thinking of, like, what can I do to have like you my 5 minutes of fame,
Yeah.
And for some people, it was like being super disrespectful and like going and
And
looking inside the windows and pulling
like
up into
that's
their
someone's
driveway.
home. That's someone's
Yeah.
home. And then mentioned people were going on the reservation when it was closed.
Hmm.
Like they were sneaking onto the beach when it was closed. Like, come on.
Yeah, so I definitely think that like part of the release of Midnight Sun, there was a little bit of pushback, I think, for the Twilight community, maybe in some of these senses, because it was like, we're not like all these crazy savages,
Yeah.
I recently did go to the Cullen House before there, which was amazing. So I in June I got the opportunity to stay at the Swan House Airbnb, which was crazy. And then we saw lots of different filming location, the Multnomah Falls, that as they're walking to the baseball field. We went and saw where they actually filmed the La Push Beach scene at Indian Beach in Oregon. We saw the greenhouse, which we were able to go inside for like 5 minutes. Yeah, the worker came.
Cool.
He was like, "Do you guys know about this movie named Twilight?" And we were like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I can let you." He was like, "Let me go see if I have the keys." And he like came back and let us in. So it was like the perfect timing. Carver Cafe, which I cannot ever like not ever recommend more. It is like so good.
I'm gonna be eating
The
there.
food at Carver is so good. You need to go twice. You need to go one for breakfast, one for like lunchtime food. They're both. It's both like they're both amazing. The first thing we ate there, that I had ate there was a burger, and it was like so good.
Ooh.
And then the next time we had went for breakfast, and it was just delicious. The food is so good there.
I'm so excited.
And then I think that maybe that's another idea that I have is maybe doing like a tour of Twilight podcast for you guys, and maybe we can kind of talk about different locations, or like we can do like an itinerary breakdown from like if you're gonna go see all the locations in Oregon and in Washington, like what, or maybe even Canada. Like if you want to make a whole trip out of it, we can plan your trip for you. And I think that that's something that, um,
Your guide to the Twilight Pacific Northwest coast.
yeah, something.
You
Um,
know.
we went to the iconic like where he's jumping around and all that. We went to the schools. It was just an amazing experience. And when we went to the Cullen House, so it is in a public neighborhood. It's like kind of surprising because I what I would have thought was that it wouldn't be so close to the city as close as it is.
Yeah.
Um, but it's very close to the city. Uh, you're kind of just like driving in the city, and then all of a sudden there's like houses, and you're like in a neighborhood. And all the houses there are beautiful. Honestly, the Cullen house is gorgeous, but there's these two houses there that were all black, and they look very
Oh.
Victorian, and I would that is my dream home, is to have an all black Victorian house. And I was like more in awe with those houses than I was with the Cullen house, because those houses
Oh.
were freaking gorgeous. So, the first time so we did go see it twice. When we first saw it, we parked on on the street over. So we parked because we didn't want to, like, we didn't want to, we didn't know how that other street was. We didn't want to be all up in their business. So we walked, and then you walk up a hill. Now, there's the street that we parked on. There's one right after that. Um, and there used to be a dead end sign, because literally if you go any further, there's like a cliff. So
Ooh.
you, yeah, so but the dead end sign was not there. It said like no trespassing, dead end, or something like that. I don't know if it looked like maybe like the railing was kind of messed up, so I don't know if someone hit it or whatever, but it looks damaged. Um, and then you walk up this hill a little bit, and before, like a couple, maybe like last year, there was a cone at the end of the hill stating that you could not go up to see the house. Um, and no one knows the real reason why they did that. I have a theory, just because,
It's speculative.
and we'll talk about it a little more in depth next episode. But I they recently sold the house, and I feel like maybe they were doing renovations to maybe they were fixing it up and didn't want people up there, or maybe they were doing showings and didn't want people going up there. You know,
Very well.
if I'm trying to sell a house, and it's like one of the most famous houses in the world, I probably am not going to want a whole bunch of tourists going over there, because then the house probably would not have sold,
Been
you
sold.
know?
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
that's my speculation. We'll never know for sure, you know?
Yeah.
Now, but when we went, the cone was not at the bottom of the hill. We walked up to the top of the hill, and there's kind of like this little area, and then in front of you is you can see the clear definitions between there's two different driveways. There's one that's a clear definition in the road. You see it on the road. It's like a little indention. That is the driveway to the Cullen house. Do not walk up on that driveway. Please
Do
don't.
not, please.
Um,
It is private property.
yeah. And then
We
there's
have
a
lost enough filming
yeah.
locations. Let's not lose this one.
There is another one to the right, and that is to the neighbor's backyard. That's kind of their driveway, because
Ah,
their neighbors don't have a front yard. It's kind of like the neighbors had like stairs that walked up to their front door. So they're that's kind of like their like parking area. And there was a cone there, and there was a cone at the end of the Cullen driveway, and a cone at the end of the neighbor's driveway. Um, so you can see the house in all its glory. Beautiful, gorgeous. Like, it was raining the first time we went, and so it was just like magical. I did get shit on TikTok because there is a sign that says no photography.
oh no.
Yeah, so whatever. People got mad at me on TikTok. Yeah, the cone. There with the sign. It did not have that sign anymore though, so that
It did.
RIP. But
Oh, beware
yeah,
of dog.
There was a sign, we actually, so when you're going up at the top of the hill, so it's up and then it kind of flattens out a little bit. And then it kind of goes up for the driveway and up for the other driveway. So we did not go past the top part of the hill. So we did, yeah, we didn't even like, we were maybe like 10 feet away or more. Like the closest that we had got was maybe like 5 feet because it was like, okay, like let's get a quick picture. We didn't want to get close to it for too long. We didn't want to, like we just didn't. At some point, it did feel kind of like uncomfortable because like it is not the Cullen house, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just like, let's just get this really quick because it's beautiful and whatever. And then it was raining. So, like, but we kept our distance and I did, we took our pictures, even though there's a sign that says no photography, guys. Don't come for me. Don't break my neck. But look, the way that I see it is that, like, not that one evil is better than the other, but like, I'm not the first one to do it. There's people in the fandom that have like lied and said they didn't do it when people know that they did.
Yeah.
And
There's
like,
videos.
I'm not, at least I'm not saying that like, oh, I didn't take any picture. Like, at least I'm not like lying about it. Like I put it out there. Like I was respectful to their trespassing and to their cones and all that stuff. But guys, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And if the worst thing I did was take a picture from about 10 feet or 5 feet away, like take me to jail. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and it's just like who knows what's gonna happen with like, the fact that it's being sold. Like,
Well, it already got sold. So
yeah,
I just
it got
don't I just don't know if the new owners are already living there or not. So
exactly.
they could
Because
do
like
whatever they want.
look what happened to the what was it, the Jacob House
Mhm.
in Forks, the one that looks exactly like. It's like the owners cut it
Sold
off
it,
and
yeah.
they sold it. The new owners cut it off from people, and now like you can't take a picture of it.
Yeah.
So
And so that could very well happen. And you know what? Like, say what you want. I was taking a picture of me looking cute on a street and there happened to be a house behind it in the picture.
exactly. You could have just been, living your best life.
Yeah. And some people in my TikTok comments were like defending me and they were like that they assumed that the no photography sign, because the no photography sign is kind of like at the border of their like driveway. So some people were like assuming in my comments or like defending me saying like that they thought that that sign meant that no photography like past this point. But I guess it's just like up for interpretation. But yeah, I took a picture in front of the house, guys. Yeah, but
You're like, sue
uh,
me.
yeah, and we went a second day. We did not take pictures that second day, but only we just wanted to see it one last time while it was like not raining. So we parked and we walked up and we saw it. And actually, when we got there, there was a glass workers because I mean the house is all windows, but there was like a window company there, and they were actually we saw them breaking one of the windows on the inside, like they were repairing it, which was like a really
Yeah,
cool, which was a really cool experience. That was cool.
yeah. I'm
And we
looking
went.
at your comments.
Oh yeah, I did take off. I did take off a lot of the ones like trying to cause problems, and I limited the comments and stuff like that just because like I didn't want that negative energy. Like, don't come for me.
I love that you're using Cherish's sound.
Yeah.
Iconic. I love it.
Um. But at some point, one of the window workers came out, and we were like, "Oh, it's our time to go. Like, let's leave, right?" But it was so funny because I was like, "Should we just?" I was like, "It's so crazy." But if he were just to like walk down here and I'd be like, I would totally ask for a piece of that glass.
Oh my god. Like,
Just
hey, if you don't need that anymore, I can make use of it.
can I please take a handful of glass and sell? I will sell it. Glass from the Cullen house.
You can
Lord.
say directly from the window Edward jumped out of.
Yeah, exactly. But then we were like coming up with scenario like, oh, Edward or Emmett must have been throwing things around, like just
Exactly.
something. But yeah, and we did see. I mean, when we were there looking at it, when the glass was being like broken or whatever, um, but it there was like owners standing there like, and they saw us, or there was people that looked like they lived in the house.
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't come and say anything, but we never know. Who knows? I don't. Any last thoughts about Midnight Sun?
Um, this is a special book. I mean, I need to reread it, but like I think even when I reread it, it's still gonna be at the top of my favorite Twilight books because I mean, the first one I could read every day and not get tired of it, but New Moon, it's hard for me to rank them now. I used to be easy at ranking them, but now they all have a special place. But like this, after waiting so long and the fact that it means so much to me with where I am now and being able to give me the opportunity to like meet friends through social media and go to go to Forks and go to Portland and see it, just it gives a whole other meaning to it. Like this is if say I were to ever meet Stephanie, I'd want her to sign this book.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Emily, our friend Emily, does have a signed copy of Midnight Sun, I believe. I think,
Yeah,
or she
I
has
think she
a,
did.
or she has
Both
her
times.
signature on on a card. But I know she has a signature. Um, yeah, Midnight Sun was just crazy. I loved it. It was probably like the easiest read for me. Some books
Yeah,
it takes it really like sometimes I have to like really get into it, but Midnight Sun was like a really easy read for me, and when it's an easy read for me, I love it even more. Um, gosh, this book was just so
yeah.
good, and
Edward's head is a handful,
yeah.
but I love it.
I mean, and Midnight Sun started so many things in the fandom, and I think that is the maybe one of the main reasons for a lot of the things happening now in in the Twilight fandom. If you want to know more about how Midnight Sun has led us down a rabbit hole of a resurgence of just craziness,
Revival.
of just yeah, like a resurrection, if you will. Stay tuned
Yes.
for our next episode where we will be talking about the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th
Six
Twilight Renaissance.
coming of Twilight. Be
Yeah.
sure to follow us on all our social media, TikTok, Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify so you don't miss an episode.
Yes, you can also catch us on
Yeah.
Google Podcasts and a couple of others that
Anchor.
we'll make an Instagram post where we're at, where you can listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
It's a yeah, but
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
we're so excited to be back. We're so excited for what's to come. We did have lots of ideas
We
for
got a lot.
merch. Yeah, for merch and stuff. Before we took a little break, and so maybe possibly even looking at starting some things, maybe just releasing one merch idea at a time, without so we don't really have to overwhelm ourselves. Is something that we're definitely interested in, I think. So, time will tell, but we're so excited to have you guys back, and we're so excited to be back.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, guys, this is the end of episode 1 of season 2 of the Bite podcast with Raven and Ree. We will see you guys on August 18th. August
August 18th.
18th. We will see you guys with a new episode. Bye.
Bye.